better watch out if you ain't got enemies on the head of full prophecy to be the greatest beast the world has ever seen. I feed him every day like the bones clean. I feed him all the hate and he grows me, and he gets caught real big, gets off quick. And if you cross it, you might drop dead. Metaphorically, of course, settling the score, never getting bored. Lots of blood and gore, always wanting more, freedom from the source. They don't really listen until they feel it worth their party. And if you start shit, you be heartless in the darkness. Torn apart quick, you let scars rip, you be chewed up and discarded. And this world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me.
What up, America? Welcome back to another episode of Voice of Reason. I am in a really good mood today. I'm trying to rub it off on Mike. He is having a rough time with his computer at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just grumpy right
But
now.
yesterday made me proud to be an American again after seeing actual millions of people in the streets defying the American Clown King, regardless of all the threats, regardless of the fact that military are on the streets attacking protesters. As a matter of fact, 100% of the violence committed yesterday was committed by MAGA and the cops. Period. Those are facts. Okay, we had more cops instigating violence against protesters than protesters instigating violence against anybody. Of course, that doesn't include MAGA because they took guns to protests. They took disrespectful signs where they were basically calling the J6ers like POWs and fallen soldiers and all that shit. And we had a guy drive through a crowd. And then we also had a MAGA psycho decide to make a list of 70 politicians and actually go and kill one of them, another critically wounded.
MAGA assassin that no one on any network news is referring to as an assassin.
Yeah, so you know what amazes me is 5 million, at least 5 million Americans on the left, as progressives, were able to do an entire day where we protested peacefully per our constitutional rights. And you mean to tell me MAGA can't handle that for one day? That they have to attack us?
Well,
you know
according to our the numbers,
11 million.
According to the numbers, around 11 million people that they know of showed up for No Kings protests around the country.
Guys,
think about that.
That's 3.5%.
All right, that actually is very close to the 3.5%. Now, people were confused about what I meant by that. It isn't a hard, fast rule that says if you get 3.5% people to protest, you're the fascist. That is, historically speaking, when you have 3.5% of your public protesting a fascist government or a dictator, it means that the propaganda isn't working. It means that the fear tactics aren't working. It means that the people are not bowing down to fascists. No. That's what it means.
Every move that Trump has made has united the people more against him, which is great. I thought the Democrats, I was under the misconception that they were going to unite us. But no, surprisingly enough, Donald Trump has united America against them. As a matter of fact, he's united the entire world against them. So I guess we should at least, Donald Trump is mad because he doesn't get enough credit. Well, let's give him credit for that. He actually was able to bring all of us together. Unfortunately for him, it's not in his favor.
And I know you're going to agree with what I'm about to say. Yet again, we're seeing in these protests far more older white people than any other demographic. The specific group that Trump is supposed to have a hold on is either coming out finally or starting to realize that Trump isn't their guy finally. Either way, I was in a congressman's office. That's where the protest was that I went to. Of their 12 that they know of on Long Island, I was at the one in front of Representative Garabino's office. He's a MAGA piece of garbage. And there were easily anywhere, at least 2,000, probably around 3,000 people there. And we're talking a MAGA district, a MAGA area of Long Island. We're talking literally one of the most MAGA-heavy concentrations of people outside of the deep, shitty South. Okay. Right. It lives where I live, and the amount of people that are showing up to protest Trump.
Amazing, right? I was in Harrisburg. I went to my state capital. It's only a 2-hour drive, so it wasn't that bad. anything up 4 hours or less, I have no problem driving.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just kind of zone out, put my music on, and go.
No, that's not that bad.
We had like 5,000 people there. And actually, I have a clip of it. I was
and you've been watching them grow. You've seen those protests grow from small ones to a bigger one.
I went to the first 50-51 protest in Harrisburg, the beginning of the year when it was still freezing cold out. I can't remember when it was now. I think it was end of March or April. I can't remember. But anyway, there was maybe a couple hundred people there. And now the last one I went to, there was probably 2,000 people there. So they continue to grow in size. This time we had probably anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 people there. Obviously, I didn't sit there and count every single person. I'm just going off of what the organizers were saying. But I have a video just to show you exactly how many people showed up. And Harrisburg is not a big city. Okay. It's not like LA or New York City or anything like that. It's a small city in Pennsylvania, all things considered. But people showed up, man. And the weirdest thing happened to me yesterday. People recognized me from our show. Bro, I'm still like flabbergasted. I had 2 people come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, you're that podcaster." I'm like, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, the answer is yes.
And I had one lady come up to me and goes, "Oh my God, I see you on TikTok." I'm like, this is fucking weird, bro. I don't know how to process this. But anyway, even the event organizers recognized me because I've gone to all of 50-51
awesome.
protests. And they were like, "Oh, you're here live streaming again. That's great." Because other than, us,
there's
independent
no real media coverage.
There was one news station there. One. And I talked to the reporter. I was trying to get an interview, but I couldn't pull it off. But other than us, showing you this stuff, if you were to watch Fox News or Right Side Broadcasting Network, you would think that the entire country is burning down around us. I mean, we even thought that for a second, but in
they gotta
reality,
push their propaganda. If they don't have propaganda, they have nothing.
They don't. And they tried so hard to make Donald Trump's parade look like it was legit. It was the most pathetic display I've ever seen in my life.
Exactly what I expected it to be, actually worse than I expected.
You know what? I feel, and this is just me because I was in the military, one of the first things you learn in the military is how to march in formation, like in unison. And if you look at the people marching in his protest, to me, it looks like malicious compliance. Like they had to be there because they were ordered to be there. But if you look at how they were marching, they did not give a shit about it at all.
The other thing is something that someone posted was at one point they were marching past him playing Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival. And if anyone knows anything, that song is a 60s protest song about shitty, how shitty it is that senators' sons didn't get sent and drafted, but everyone else's sons did. So the only way that could have possibly got played during his parade is if the people organizing it were literally that dumb, which is possible.
Yeah, that is very possible.
Someone was trolling the shit out of him, which is what I think happened.
Also, somebody screwed up because there was supposed to be a big old flyover of military planes. Never happened. Never happened. So somebody's getting fired.
So first, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was going to show some signs from the protest I was at and some images from protests around the country before we go into some videos, Jeremy, about that. Well, do you have videos of No Kings protests aside from the parade?
Just a couple.
Okay, so I'll go through some images, then we'll go through videos, and then we'll talk about Trump's failed parade, because let me tell you something. Failure isn't even the right word for what that parade was, but we'll get to that. So
they real quick before you show it, they literally I showed the freaking page on my last stream. They were literally offering people $500 to attend.
They were
on Craigslist.
And no one showed up.
And nobody showed up. That is awesome.
I do want to go ahead and show one thing, because this thing is so important to me. I didn't think about it until I saw this. Now, there was a lot of people saying that Trump wanted this parade to be his Tiananmen Square moment. Okay, he wanted counter protesters to show up so the military could make a big spectacle. Well, one of the smartest decisions the No Kings organizers made was not staging a counter protest of Trump's parade in D.C. He wanted that confrontation. Instead, millions gathered around the country while Trump's parade fell far short of attendance goals. It made Trump look small. Think about that. Even though it would have been glorious to counter protest it, those people there would have done whatever they were ordered to at that moment. Okay? Yeah. End of story. I'm not even faulting them for it. They would have done what they were ordered to do. And if it was open fire on protesters to make Trump look like he's defending himself from invaders and terrorists and assassins, he would have done it. But he couldn't because not even his own people were there, let alone protesters. No one brought attention to his shitty little baby parade except him. And that's what's brilliant. But
the protesters Proud Boys. Protesters, yeah. Go ahead. We're marching.
This shit ain't cool. This shit ain't cool. I thought that was
definitely
good.
Not cool. That is good. I like that.
There was a lot of ones that were seriously put together well. So no emperors, no kings,
tariffs.
no penguin tariffs. Like, come on, look at that. That's fucking great. We got "You're fired" and "Impeach the taco." I appreciate that. A lot of taco posters.
Oh yeah, it's hard not to make those.
MAGA, Moscow already governs America.
Yep, that's another good one.
Now,
we like to say
fun.
Il Duce.
Let me tell you,
that is hilarious.
Older white people.
That's great.
This was one from San Francisco.
That's amazing.
Was beautiful. This was back near me. No kings, yes, queens. I thought that was great. The only thing that the protests were missing were an influx of drag queens, because there's nothing that makes a party electric like drag queens.
Right.
So it would have been fun to have them there. Another one, he's eating the laws, he's eating the universities. I thought that was
No, people definitely were creative. I saw some good ones yesterday too.
Now, what people need to understand is it wasn't just in the blue states. We're talking red ass cities. Dallas, look at Idaho.
That's crazy.
All right, we're talking, there were protests in major red cities. This was in DC. I thought it was beautiful.
That's amazing.
Now think about it. All you need to know is that every one dot of light there is a person. There are more people in this picture than showed up at Donald Trump's parade. That is not an exaggeration.
That's epic, dude. That's incredible.
Yep, that's what I got. The rest I have is for the parade, is for Trump's parade.
Nice. All right, so let's get to that. I have a video that I made where I call it expectations versus reality. And this is a video of what I think Donald Trump expected his parade to look like versus what we all saw. So, yeah, hold on one second and let me go ahead and find the video. Here we go. Imagine versus reality is what I call it. Now, this is obviously what Donald Trump was hoping for, a North Korea style parade. Everybody's in perfect unison, marching while looking at the, oh shit. Bro. Come on, y'all can march better than that.
Look, we are not making fun of our soldiers. What we're actually saying is there's more people there right now than you think that are not happy to be there.
Right. Including the soldiers.
And if they were ordered to be there, this is their way of, let's say, protesting.
Yeah. Yep. So there's what he was up. That's what he got. Jesus Christ. That is the worst marching I have ever seen in my life. They're not even close to being in step. And you know what the funniest part?
Oh, my favorite.
You know what the funniest part of all this?
My favorite one.
Most people don't realize this, but the parade was on the wrong side. It was going the wrong way because in military formations, when you're doing a parade, there's this moment where the leader of the group, I guess you could call it, platoon, company, whatever you want to call it, they do a move called eyes right. Okay, eyes right. And that is when the leader of the platoon turns and salutes the president. The first column keeps looking straight, and the rest of the people look to the right. It's always eyes right. It's never eyes left. Okay, it's always eyes right. So these dumbasses didn't even know that a true military parade, true military fashion, eyes right is the official call. So they're literally on the wrong side.
What's really funny? I have an overlay for that. That's hilarious. Watch. This is the parade route. Okay, so Trump's viewing stand is up there on the top, which means if you follow the arrow, that's on the left of the parade route.
Exactly.
Now, here's another thing. Let's look at the routes that people had to take. The heavy vehicle route came from West Potomac Park all the way around to the parade route. Look where they made our soldiers march from.
No wonder they were pissed off and out of unison by the time they got there.
And then half of them, by the time they got there, Trump was gone. He had left at some point because he can't even stay past his bedtime. They got to empty his pee and shit bags.
Bro, this was the saddest display ever. And honestly, I love it. I love it because they humiliated him.
You think we're kidding, right? Because here's the thing. The people, the MAGAs are going to go, well, you're taking pictures while they were setting up. Oh, really? Are those not soldiers marching in and out of frame and no one in the fucking stands?
No,
is that not what that is?
They couldn't even fill the stands.
Oh, I'll get to that. How about this? There's a tank going. There's the press corps right there. And then guess what? There's like 112 people watching.
Probably more press than actual people.
You know who got more traction than the parade route? The porta potties. Trump's face over it. All right. I think it's important. You got to understand something. 99% of the parade, Trump was sitting with his cabinet schmucks, falling asleep.
Oh, I have the video of that. Oh, it's so good.
And the only time he spoke, which by the way, he spoke for about 10 seconds, which is
look at his boy behind him looking at him like, is he asleep?
The thing that interests me is Donald Trump has never let Melania be in front of him at the microphone.
Ever.
I thought that was interesting.
A lot of people thought there was going to be an attempt on his life during this event. And of course, we thought they were going to blame it on the left.
Well, of course they
or whatever. But all right, let me show you guys some videos because I got some good ones. First, I want you to realize how embarrassing this is because I have a hot mic moment from last year where Donald Trump and a reporter are talking about Kim Jong-un possibly visiting the United States if Donald Trump were to be president.
That's on my bingo card.
Yeah. And this is what Donald Trump has to say. He wishes his people would sit at attention like the people of North Korea do for Kim Jong-un. This is
which means he wants American citizens to care more about how impressed they are to their leader than they are to America. Donald Trump wants people to fear him, worship him, and show that fealty.
And that's why this is so embarrassing because he truly wanted a North Korea style. Like, I'm surprised he didn't want nukes going through the freaking center of town. You know what I'm saying? But this is a real thing. This is a hot mic moment that
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Mm-hmm. Don't let anyone think anything different. Right. He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Well, he truly has no concept of what fear, retaliation, and pure evil is. He thinks that's what makes someone strong. He thinks people in Russia they respect Putin. He thinks in North Korea they respect Kim Jong-un. He doesn't understand these aren't shows of respect. They're shows of fear that are expected by their dictator.
Right.
That's it.
North Korea and Russia is what happens when you don't fight back. Okay? When you have a dictator that does manage to subjugate all of his people. You know what I'm saying? That's what you get. You get like a North Korea style thing. But we're Americans. The one thing we don't like being told what to do. You know what I'm saying? You tell us not to protest. You threaten us with violence. You're just going to drive more people out in the streets, dude.
Well, unless you're a MAGA gun nut, Second Amendment lover, then you're like, you know what? This is exactly what I wanted. A tyrant to take all the brown people out.
I know. It's truly amazing. Let me just remind everybody what Donald Trump threatened us with. Okay, so keep in mind, according to the latest report, we got 11 million people across the country went out despite Donald Trump threatening us with big force, whatever that means. If we were to protest his birthday parade.
We won the war, and we're the only country that didn't celebrate it. And we're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protest that wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, you know, this is people that hate our country, but they will be met with very heavy force. Thank you very much.
Oh, very heavy force.
Look, I think if the protests, the No Kings protest did anything, it I hope did its job.
It was
and epic. Especially as it turns out, in contrast to Trump's failed parade. The American people will not stand for this.
No.
Now we have to see what happens after this. Now we need more people to be volunteering. We need more people to get involved. But what we need more than anything, and I know if James was here right now, he would go off on this. We need a Democratic Party that is actually going to stand up to Donald Trump, because what we have yesterday is a John Fetterman tweeting that we have to respect this parade is for the military's birthday, and we should no. This is not for his birthday. You know why this is not for the military's birthday? Because they sung happy birthday to Donald Trump.
Right.
This was Donald Trump's birthday parade.
Right.
We need Donald Democrats to grow a set and actually do something.
Right. This was not organized by the military. This was organized by Donald Trump. Military they didn't want anything to do with this. This is humiliating.
Our military does not do military parades.
No, we're not show dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's unbelievable. But you can tell immediately. I have a clip of Donald Trump walking out on stage with his loving wife, Melania. And you can see when he walks out and sees how many people are there, just look how sad he looks. Oh, this is chef's kiss.
Where is everyone? Oh my God, there's literally no one there.
Right? Look how sad he looks, bro. He looks defeated.
Like, this is gross. The guy can't even fake being happy.
I know, he looks so sad because nobody showed up for his birthday. This was never about the military. If this truly was about the military, it probably would have been packed. But everybody knew this had nothing to do with the military and 100% stroked Donald Trump's ego.
Like, you got to see some of the footage on Fox, because most networks didn't cover any of this. But Fox had people there, if it was the Macy's Day Parade, and they were like, oh, look at this wonderful tank going by. Now. And it's one ancient truck pulling like a nothing. It's just pulling like a piece of random equipment, and it's just rolling across the street. And they're like, ooh, this is from... Then they even have panels up where like, this is from the Desert Storm era.
I know, right?
What are we doing?
Just so we have an idea of what Mike is referring to, I have the standalone clip of the Sweetie tank.
This is my favorite thing. You tell me right now they're not playing this in Moscow, in every country in the world.
Bro, we look so weak right now. I guarantee every world leader that is wishing for our demise is laughing right now, going, that's the most powerful military in the world? Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.
There's not even anyone in the crowd cheering. Oh, wait, there is no crowd. There's no one there.
Now, of course, that is a World War II tank, and that's what they're supposed to sound like, but it's just the absolute silence
so
as that tank rolls by.
They spent, let's say, $10 million for this parade. I know it was more than that, way more than that. They spent that much money on this parade, and no one showed up.
You know, it's hilarious. I think the Nazis were actually more happy to see that tank roll through Germany than the crowd was.
Oh, no.
That's so fucked up.
God.
Nazis were honestly more excited to see that tank than this crowd.
Exactly, Doctor Who fan. Exactly.
WD-40.
All they had to do is...
yeah, but... it's funny you mentioned we're paying for this, and apparently the Army is also going to be the one that gets stuck for the repair bill of all the roads. Why are we paying for this if this event was sponsored by Coinbase, UFC, Palantir? You know, Palantir, Peter Thiel's company, the one that Doge stole all the information for, so they could give it to Peter Thiel and then they can watch us in real time.
All part of the plan.
But why are we paying for this? Why are the taxpayers paying for this and the repairs if you got sponsors for the event? I have a video clip because this reminds me of Idiocracy.
Those sponsors are paying Trump directly, if I had to guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and the sponsors are ridiculous. UFC, come on. Palantir, are you crazy? Like, the controversy surrounding Palantir right now is insane. Like, even MAGA's upset that they're trying to do this Palantir shit with monitoring us all, giving them all our information, and they're using Palantir as a sponsor. And then Coinbase, which is just some kind of crypto scam wallet company. Like, this is a joke. This is a joke. They were selling Trump watches on TV.
Oh,
as the parade was going on, bro.
There were some booths selling MAGA merch to the army directly, and they are now under investigation.
Well, yeah, because I have the picture of it. I don't have it pulled up, but they were selling white privilege cards.
Yep.
I shit you not, white privilege cards. That's crazy.
Well,
and on the back it says, yeah, the back of it says something insane. Hold up, maybe I can read it real quick.
But like, again, this is what you saw is what Trump wants America to be. He wants America to be a police state that worships him and he thinks everyone's afraid of. And that is not what we are. And you know why? They're not afraid of us because we have a weak military. We don't have a weak military. What we have is zero leadership or negative leadership. We have a president who is destroying our reputation, who said today, by the way, we may get involved militarily with Iran and Israel. Think about that. Mr. I'm going to stop all wars. There's never been wars with me, is now going to still have Ukraine and Russia, going to have Iran and Israel. Who knows what other wars are going to start, because Donald Trump is now let the world know that we are no longer there to protect peace and democracy. And this is what happens when that linchpin falls.
It's not even that we're no longer able to. They're completely incompetent. You know what I mean? We're about to enter World War III with literally the most unqualified administration in American history.
Pete Hegseth getting briefings from the Joint Chiefs of Staff doing shots in his underwear. Like, that's what's about to happen.
Briefings on World War III to happen via a Fox News fucking puppet show?
I was going to say via a puppet. Bad guys shoot weapons. Good guys shoot weapons.
Iran send bomb. Israel mad.
Boom booms go flying.
Iran mad. Like, seriously, this is embarrassing. All right, so let me read you the back of this card that was sold on a military base during a Trump speech. It's the white privilege card. This is what it says on the back. I am not making this up. You can Google it. This card grants its bearer happiness and success because of the color of your skin and not the choices that you make that determine your abilities to be successful. Official JoelPatrick.com.
Mock people because MAGA, the Christian right, and the racists in America think that white privilege doesn't exist because they don't understand that white privilege doesn't mean you're handed things. It means you're not rounded up off the street because of the color of your skin. And they cannot get that through their tiny little inferior skulls.
No, they're so dumb. All right, so let me show you the video. All the sponsors. Again, why are we paying for this if they had all these multi-billion-dollar companies sponsoring the event?
This is sick. We can't even march in a straight line.
I know.
My God, I learned that in marching band in high school.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Coinbase.
You know, chances are
cheering. There's no one standing there. There's no one anywhere. Think about that. Look,
to our sponsor,
you can see how deep that crowd is. There's like, come on.
I won a contest, got to be a cabinet member. I'm the Secretary of State. Brought to you by Carlos Jr.
Why are you saying that?
Because they pay me every time I do. It's a really good way to make money. You're so smart, why don't you know that?
Idiocracy's real. Right now it's Palantir and UFC, but in 500 years it'll be Carl's Jr. sponsoring the event, man. So over this. But you know what? The fact that Donald Trump looked like a complete fool in front of the entire world, because you know Russia was watching this, you know China was watching this, the Middle East, North Korea probably was even watching this, laughing their asses off with how the self-proclaimed tough guy, the alpha male, looked like a weak little bitch during his own parade. And how, honestly, some of those people marching are probably not even in the military because they were looking for people to pretend they were in the military. They ordered, remember, they ordered 1,500 military uniforms from the past, and they were going to give them to actors and people just standing in. So chances are half the people in that military parade aren't even in the military.
And you know what's funny? If they wanted to think about this, right? It's the subtle stuff. If they wanted to get people in uniforms from different eras to march, why wouldn't you go to, I don't know, your millions of veterans that would probably be happy to march in a military parade? Maybe not, you know, a fascist goose-stepping Donald Trump jerk-off parade, But something respecting the military, I guarantee you there's a lot of veterans that would sign up for that. But instead, Donald Trump continues to disrespect our military by using them as something to flatter his ego. Nothing more. There is nothing about Donald Trump that has respect for the military. He thinks Putin lost 51 million people in World War II. This guy doesn't understand military history, let alone world history, let alone what the hell's going on an average Tuesday. No. This guy is a mush brain whose only instincts survive as he is melting into oblivion are his ego and his sense of vengeance. That's it. He is a despicable puddle, a stain on this country.
He truly is. You know what amazes me too is the fact that actually, you know what? I'm not going to talk about that. Well, no, I guess I am, because it really creeped me out watching this guy swear in new recruits into the U.S. military, where you take your oath to defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic, all that good stuff. Having a 5 to 6 time draft dodger, somebody found liable for rape, or I guess sexual assault,
convicted felon,
right? Convicted felon for committing fraud, and Jeffrey Epstein's best friend of 15 years. I find that extremely horrifying that that guy is allowed to swear in impressionable young military recruits that are probably 17, 18 years old. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like having that guy read you your oath means nothing. The guy knows nothing of honor, values, service, duty. I said duty. No, you know what I'm saying, though? Like, he has no clue. No clue. And watching him swear in new recruits that are going to serve under him and possibly get sent to Iran or Israel. That's crazy. Just so you know, you elected Donald Trump because he was the no new war president. Well, Donald Trump just helped start World War III because he knew goddamn well Israel is going to attack Iran.
Oh, and by the way, if you're upset sending money, by the way, we don't send money to Ukraine. We sent them weapons. Okay. Right. So if you're sad and mad and upset about sending Ukraine weapons to defend themselves from a fascist government in Russia, how are you justifying a fascist Israel taking our weapons that we're sending them to attack Iran? Oh, it's okay because they're different brown and they're bad and you don't even understand what words mean.
No, it's because 80% of our government, 80% of our politicians, so this means a lot of Democrats, because I've been looking into this because it's really starting to annoy me. Yep. Israel is really starting to fucking annoy me. 80% of our elected politicians in office right now have taken money from Israel. They have been specifically targeted and lobbied by AIPAC, by Israel. Israel has, a matter of fact, they have actually primaried people that they thought were too progressive and not pro-Israel enough and put people in their place, giving that candidate money.
Remember,
we need all these people out.
You didn't want to vote for the brown lady.
You know what I mean? If you take money from AIPAC and from Israel, I don't think you should be allowed to run for re-election.
She didn't do enough for Palestine. You can sit the fuck down and go join the Republican Party. And I mean that because you're clearly stupid. You don't understand anything. And you cost us, amongst other things, an election that could have prevented all of this.
Pretty much. So, all right, let's go to another video where Donald Trump, because I'm going to play part of Donald Trump's speech because it's hilarious. It's not hilarious. It's serious. He's trying to be serious, but to me, it's funny.
Also the shortest speech he's ever given.
Yeah, it was only like 9 minutes, and I'm pretty sure because nobody was there. If that place was packed, he would have talked for 2 hours. But first, let's play the video of Donald Trump seeming to wake up in the middle of this. You can see his head. You can see it. Just watch.
In 1914, years of escalating competition.
Oh, there it is. He was dead asleep, dog. He was he's out. Bro, I don't ever want to hear sleepy Joe Biden.
He spent all your taxpayer money on this, and the guy can't even stay awake. He can't even smile.
Bro, Marco Rubio was yawning.
Look at him. Trump was asleep.
Donald Trump's sad. It's so bad. That's the picture that's circulating the internet. That is the picture that out of all the things that happened that day, that moment of Donald Trump dead asleep during his own parade that he wasted our money on and shut DC down pretty much for a week so they could practice.
Sleepy Donnie.
Right.
Donnie.
I don't ever want to hear Sleepy Joe again. I don't ever want to hear Sleepy Joe again. Jesus. You guys are still selling Let's Go Brandon merch. Are you kidding me? Like, these people like will not let go of Joe Biden for some reason. Oh my God. It's so pathetic, man. These people are just sad. It's sad. It's sad. But this is the world we live in. And honestly, it's Mike and I enjoy laughing at it. I can't help it. This is
the only thing we could
kind of guilty pleasure of mine. I know, because I would go insane if I didn't make fun of these people. I truly would. So let me go to Donald Trump's speeches, or do you want to go over some of your? Oh, you already went over your overlays.
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay, cool. So here's Donald Trump speaking for, I think it was maybe like 7.5 minutes. The clip was 9 minutes, but
the guy who's known to drone on for an hour about nonsense in his own big boy parade. He can't even speak that long. I'm telling you, this guy's gonna melt away and die probably within the next month. His health is so bad right now.
Bad. I'm pretty sure the bruises that he gets on his hands are from IVs.
Yep.
And he's obviously wearing a catheter. If you haven't seen the UFC pick,
keep him conscious.
He is not doing well. He's falling asleep all the time. Here's a good clip where he can't even pronounce infantrymen.
Only proclaimed they've got us surrounded again, the poor bastards. This is the fighting spirit and unyielding force
of the
U.S. Army. It has never changed, and it will never, ever change, because there is no earthly force more powerful than the brave heart of a U.S. infantryman or an Army Ranger, paratrooper, or Green Beret. They are the...
He wasn't even close. Infantrymen. Oh my God.
You know what they do, right? They pump him full of shit to show up to things, and then when he gets back into the beast, he just collapses and they scoop him out into his bed.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because like we always say, everything they say is projection and confession. So all of a sudden they're going after Joe Biden's health, his mental acuity. So what does that tell you if they're always projection and confession? That means something's wrong with Donald Trump. And they're trying to take the focus off of that and put it on the Joe Biden. But unfortunately for them, nobody gives a shit about Joe Biden anymore.
They're blaming Joe Biden for the Israeli attack on Iran. Like that's where we're at.
Everything. They are still, it's been 5 months. 5 months. And you guys are still, are we going to hear this in 3.5 years?
First day.
Like when Donald Trump, when Republicans get hammered in the next election, are you going to blame that on Joe Biden too? That doesn't make sense anymore. Okay. Everything that's happening right now is Trump, baby. Biden's out. Biden's been out.
I want to know if people were so worried that people were controlling Biden and who was running the government behind the scenes. Who the hell is doing that now when your Messiah, your king, is falling asleep in his own parade? Can't even speak one sentence without screwing up. Slurs his words, is squinting, someone pointed out. He's always like...
Yeah, he's struggling to read teleprompters, too.
I mean, come on.
He's struggling. You can tell when he gives speeches now. And this is, if you look at him 8 years ago, Mike and I have said this. His first term, he was much more... He was still a psychopath.
He's still a Nazi asshole, but he wasn't completely demented.
Right, but now... He's still a Nazi asshole, but his brain is actual mush, and he could barely read the teleprompter. He can't give a speech now, but he'll lean real hard on the and he's like go from one teleprompter to another without even looking into the crowd anymore. And he used to just go off the cuff, which is a lot of the problem. But here is him giving a speech, and you could just tell he's struggling through this whole thing. But I found it ironic because this part of the speech, he's talking about how the Revolutionary War happened and how we broke away from a king, which I thought was just hilarious coming from Donald Trump on No King's Day. You can't make this shit up, can you?
With the creation of America's Army on June 14th, 1775, liberty got its shield and the freedom got its sword. Those first Army patriots in the American Revolution fought against a fearsome enemy and impossible odds, but they were armed with a righteous cause. They were led by an indomitable commander, a truly great man,
Indomitable?
General George Washington, and they were united by an eternal creed.
He is struggling.
Their motto
Other
is
teleprompter?
victory or
Talk
death.
about low energy.
Over the past 2.5 centuries, our warriors have shown unrivaled valor on fields of battle around the globe. With the frostbitten feet and bloody fist, they have marched into the flames and fury of combat, charged up mountains, stormed beaches, waded through torrents of gunfire.
He is staring at the teleprompter. Taco Gestapo. That's good. I like that.
Dr. Who fan asked this, do you think it'll all fall apart when he dies? No, I
Yes.
don't. Because
I
he's
do.
not actually doing anything right now. He's just this weird melty figurehead. The people you have to worry about, and Jeremy's been big on this, is J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel.
Mhm.
These are the people with the Elon Musk technocratic bullshit. These are the people that are trying to make America and the world not just a technocracy, but run by the machines so that the people have no purpose anymore, and only rich, white, smart men get to run anything.
The only thing I
Not
think will
us
happen,
bullshitting, that's what they say.
I think these people are going to continue to exist, but however, Donald Trump is their focal point. I don't think without Donald Trump, they have anybody in line to rally behind. They don't like J.D.
That's
Vance.
true. They don't have a figurehead. That's
They're
the
going to
problem
fracture
with that.
into like 1 million pieces, and then they're going to argue with each other on who should lead this next step of MAGA. But there is no next step. Donald Trump is the whole point. Once he's gone, it's over. They think Trumpism will continue beyond Trump. Come on, man. Please.
It's all right. They'll put Eric Trump up, or the Coke one.
Yeah, I don't think Don Jr. stands a chance. Eric,
Where's
we always
he been?
called
I
the
bet his head blew up and his brains melted out of his head. No one knows about
probably. Barron Trump is probably the next likely choice, the heir to the throne, so to speak, because they think he's a prince. They literally are on Twitter fawning over this kid. And then, but he's only like 18, 19 years old. You know what I mean? So technically, he can't run for president. However, they could change the freaking age.
Donald Trump can't run for a third term either, but I'm pretty sure we're past the point of laws.
Right. Yeah. Technically, Donald Trump can't deploy the military on the streets, but we have that happening right now, too. And the Democrats seem to be pretty fucking quiet about it. There are some that are outspoken.
My boss tells me all the time, it's always easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission.
I know.
Okay. And when you're doing that at work, it usually means you're probably doing something the bureaucracy wouldn't allow. So you get it done and everyone's happy when it works out. But what we're seeing here is Donald Trump doesn't need permission because he's going to ignore it anyway. He just does what he wants. And what happens? He gets tied up in court. Okay. And then he does something else illegal. At some point, he's going to stop reacting to what's being, struck down in court. And he's just going to do what he wants.
Right. Well, Pete Hegseth recently in a Senate hearing, they asked him specifically if the court decides you need to take the National Guard and return it to California, will you abide by the court order? He would not say yes. They have no intentions on following court orders. That's what the problem is. That's what I hate about Democrats. Okay, stop playing by the fucking rules. There are no rules anymore. Do you understand that? You can't play by the rules against people that have no rules.
That's funny you say that. I've mentioned this book a while ago. I don't remember what it's called. I believe it was called, I really don't remember what it was. But the basic premise of the book was you have to recognize when people are using ruthless tactics, you yourself have to be ruthless in fighting them. The only difference is when you achieve stopping the evil and you restore order and democracy, you give up that power and you no longer act ruthless. But if you're fighting an enemy willing to do anything to win, destroy the norms, ignore your constitution, you have to find ways to fight them on their battleground because you've already lost dictating how the war goes. That's not going to happen anymore.
Right. And they're still trying to be like, oh,
thank you as always.
Yeah, we're following
Nebraska's going to go bankrupt soon. That's a great question. There's a lot of red states that aren't going to be seeing as much money as they thought now that
they will.
Look, as soon as they declare martial law, all the states in blue states are going to stop giving money to any red states. All right. Red states only exist because blue states like California and New York subsidize them to the order of billions of dollars a year. So if red states start needing money and blue states start feeling the squeeze, they're not going to be giving money to the red states anymore.
I mean, California could cripple us entirely. They're the fourth largest economy in the world. if they decided they just want to cut the rest of America off, we'd be cooked. But no, red states, I think a lot of red states are going to face that kind of dire financial situation when it comes to hurricane season next year. Because according to Donald Trump, FEMA's done after 2025. And again, it's just money they want to keep.
Well, do you know what they want to do? This way they could make a big, nice private thing that makes money to go help people. Instead of having an obligation to help anyone, they could now pay, just like they want to make. Think about this. They want fire departments to be privatized. That means if you don't pay your bill, they don't set the fire out at your house.
Well, they want the mail to be privatized. You're going to have to pay to get your mail. Any government, they think any government service that provides a service to the American people
should make money.
That should make money. They think it's wasteful spending
they don't believe
to give us food and medical insurance.
They don't believe in service. They don't believe in serving the people that vote for them or elect them. What they believe is the only right a human has is to make as much money as possible and screw as many people along the way to make more money. That is the only thing Donald Trump believes. That is the only thing his handlers believe. That is the only thing the oligarchs believe. Money, money, money. Okay? That's it.
Which is bad.
There's a reason they hate FDR. Go look into it.
Right. But it does make them extremely predictable. Because it always comes down to money with these people. So follow the money on every situation.
Hit them where the money. That's why boycotts work. Target will very likely have some very serious decisions to make on scaling back their production or their operation. Let's not forget, they forced their CEO to take a pay cut. That has pretty much never happened in the history of American capitalism. Okay?
I know shit, right?
All right. They fire hundreds of thousands of people and then take golden parachutes to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. And they go, I did a good job being a venture capitalist. CEO, all right, Target is going under right now. They are having bad times. Boycotts work. If you want to fight these fascists, take away their revenue stream.
Exactly. That's what revolution is about, y'all. Every time I say revolution, right-wing MAGA gets upset. They're like, oh, you're promoting violence. That's not what revolution is about. Revolution is about disruption.
Sid, I got to let you know, you're right. This is Project 2025, and the way they could succeed is because they are ignoring the Constitution. If they choose to stop following the Constitution, then there's no repercussions. If the Senate and Congress go along with it, if the Supreme Court, the last bastion, chooses in favor of fascism, then there is no Constitution. Okay? It's as simple as that. A Constitution is an agreement by citizens to live according to rules that benefit all. That's what it is. It's meant to make sure that power is not consolidated and that freedoms are abundant.
Right.
If the current government chooses to ignore that, then we don't get it back. I believe that we may not have elections. Forget 2028. I'm going to see if we have elections next year. So I hate to be a doomsayer, but you're not wrong, Sid. But because logical people go, we have a constitution, we should follow it. Yes, but we're dealing with evil fascists, and that's the problem right now.
Oh, speaking of elections, we have an interesting episode for you this Tuesday. We have two guests, one of which is involved in one of the lawsuits that is moving forward regarding the irregularities that we saw in the 2024 election. We will be having those people on the show. So the Election Truth Alliance, which I've talked about before, I've showed the website. We're going to have people from there on the show that know about what's happening and what's happening with these lawsuits. So, and it comes down to exactly what Mike and I talked about. How did Donald Trump get elected? And then Democrats got all elected down ballot.
Yep.
Not making any sense. Okay. It doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
A question for right now is, what do you think where is it? What do you think? Can we get change done without a general strike? Look, the reason we're in this mess is because capitalism is about squeezing the people that do the work. Yep. Most of us are too terrified, even with our strong convictions, to say, you know what? I'm not going to show up to work tomorrow. I'm not going to show up to work for a week. Well, if we lose our jobs, we lose our homes, our families suffer. We have been put in a position, and that is how capitalism works. That's how oligarchy works. The people who do the work get none of the benefit and are always close to poverty and destruction. So they have no choice but to work for what little pence they're given. So would a general strike work? Yes, but I don't know that any of us have what it takes, and I mean this respectfully, to put our families and our lives at risk. No one has 1 month to be able to take off and say, I'll recover.
No, nobody.
So
I know I don't.
I don't know if we can get this done without a general strike, but I got to tell you that is coming. Catch my whip.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. What did you say here? I research companies and use a laptop called Goods Unite Us to decide whether or not to patronize a company. Awesome. Look into who your companies that you choose to spend your money on, who they're in bed with, what they spend their money on, who they contribute to as far as not just politics, but do they have charities that they work with? Who are they funding? I think that's a great idea, Catch. Thank you again.
Absolutely. Be wary of billionaires that donate money, especially when it's a little bit of money, because that usually
even on our side.
Right. That usually just means that their accountant is telling them it'll look good and you can write it off. You know what I mean? So I'm always wary of billionaires. But then you got people like Bill Gates, who's literally going to give away his entire fortune when he dies. You know what I mean? Like some billionaires, I'm not saying Bill Gates is a good guy. I don't know much about him. But he has at least helped a lot of people. He's brought clean water to Africa.
Sid, I think you're right, Sid. I think you figured out the secret.
Trump really isn't Christ, or it wasn't a choice in the Bible. That's very true. Very true. Donald Trump is a loser. Dude, he's a loser. He's a loser. He's unbelievably, the guy has failed his way to the top.
He's a schoolyard bully who just happened to smell worse than the other ones, so they listen to him.
Listen. The only way, like he's filed bankruptcy at least 4 times, and I think he's filed 6, but only actually gone through 4.
He bankrupted a casino. Can I say that again?
3 casinos.
He bankrupted casinos,
which basically has a license to print their own goddamn money.
No, the great negotiator will stop the war in Ukraine and make sure that war doesn't break out with Israel and Iran.
Right. So my question is,
he's also admitted that he has invasion plans for Greenland and that he might bomb Mexico. Okay.
Yeah. It's out of control. It's out of control. But yeah, the guy's failed his way to the top. But my question always is how does somebody fail as much as Donald Trump does and still stay rich?
Mediocre white men. That's how, because they're protected by the system they fucking built for themselves.
I still think he's been propped up by Russian money this entire time.
Oh, of course.
I mean, if you look at Trump Towers, that was built to hide Russian oligarch money. Like 70% of the units were owned by Russia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Donald Trump is he is Krasnov, allegedly, for legal reasons. But they've been working that guy since the 80s. That's why I think Netanyahu's going to be left out to dry, because Donald Trump, Putin has decades of work and money invested in Trump.
War. Let's face it, who supported Afghanistan and Iran back in the day? Russia. So now if Israel is bombed to shit, and Israel is literally only in existence so the United States could have a military presence in the Middle East. That is it. That's it. Okay. So if Israel is bombed to smithereens and there's no more place for us to put our troops, Russia's going to suddenly be able to do a lot worse damage than we ever imagined, especially if suddenly NATO isn't as strong as it was. See how this works? See how Russia's plan to destroy the United States was
been their
always
dream.
in play, and they said it. We will destroy the United States without firing a shot. And look what's happening. The world is descending not just into insanity, but chaos and military actions across the most dangerous battlefields because we elected Donald Trump for a second term.
That's amazing. And when we say we didn't do shit. We voted. Right. We were on the right side of history and always will be. When we mean the collective we, as in the United States. But so I just want to show you guys a clip from the No King's Day protest in Harrisburg, because it started off with a march. I was in the front, and then we crossed the bridge. I could not believe how long this trail of people was.
Bro, look at the fucking trail. Look at that shit. Look at that shit.
I was a little excited.
Guys. This is what democracy is. Hey, there you are. My buddies I met here. You said you love jumping spiders are cute. I'll agree with you, Amanda. They're pretty adorable. They're the exception.
All right, but anyway, sorry, I was talking about. I saw a spider, and I was joking that I was going to jump in the river if I saw a spider.
What those protests look like in so many cities. We're talking tiny little red districts, tiny little red towns. We're talking major red cities. All right, just on Long Island alone, the one I was at was probably around 2,000 people. There were around 12 that they know of protests on Long Island. That doesn't count Manhattan, which had at least 50,000 people there. Upstate New York, which, by the way, is the reddest country you will ever see in your life. Upstate New York is MAGA central. They had dozens of protests. So in New York alone, we probably had hundreds of thousands of people. We're talking
Easily.
There was 11 million people that they know of that they're confident in reporting protested against Donald Trump on his birthday.
2,000 nationwide.
That is important. We need to keep the momentum going. We need to do more. Get involved, spread more messages, show people live streams, do whatever you can, because if there are this many people willing to go out to protest, there are even more that didn't for whatever reason, whether they were afraid, they had to work, whatever the hell it is. There are people out there, and we are in the majority. Donald Trump is not winning the hearts and minds of America at all. He's losing
completely. He's lost the plot completely.
Them.
But no, I highly recommend. I mean, you think about it. That's 40 protests per. Wait, no, that's even more than that. Was it 400? Yeah, that's 400. No, wait, 2,040. My math is off. So anyway, there was at least 40 protests, organized protests per state, which is incredible, which means you now have more access. Because at first, when I started this protest stuff, I had to drive at least 2 hours to go to a major city like my state capital, or go to New York to visit with Mike, or DC. But now there is more opportunity than ever for you to participate. Again, there are risks. We will guide you along the way, but for the most part, it's extremely fun. It's very festive, and you will feel more welcomed by strangers than you've ever felt before. It is a true sense of community when you go to these protests. Again, there are risks. If you go, turn off all your biometrics, passcode only. If they ask you to put your passcode, tell them to shove their heads up their ass and get you a lawyer. Right. Obviously, there's a risk of violence because we live in a country full of cult members that worship Donald Trump and think we are evil for some reason.
Because compassion is like a disease to them.
I promise if you go, when you leave, you'll feel amazing. You'll feel good about yourself. You'll feel like you participated in history. That's what it feels like. You're participating in history.
And you deserve to feel like that. See, you know what, Jeremy, you make a good point. We've forgotten that democracy is a sport you have to continually participate in. It is. Democracy, every time you vote, you should go, shit, that's awesome. I just voted. Every time you protest, you should go, that's freaking awesome. I just protested. Enjoy your rights while we have them. Exercise them to their maximum degree and be proud that you can do so.
Yep. I mean, again, this is historical. Never in American history have more Americans been out in the streets protesting a sitting president of the United States. This is history in the making. They are not going to stop Bush.
A lot of people protested Obama. Nothing has ever been like the pushback that Trump is getting. And that is somewhat making my heart a little warm.
Bro, I've realized they can't stop us. They can't stop us. Everything they've tried, all the threats, the military, the cops, ICE, has only pissed us off even more. And I think that's the problem, that they haven't actually thought of this. Like, you don't want to piss off an entire population, because you're finding out now what the result is. We are all angry right now, and we are unified, which is unheard of. The left has never been unified.
Look, how about the Democratic Party is not unified, but the left-leaning people in this country are unified. We were at protests with people who were Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, Baby Boomer, and maybe even some older people, okay? And I'm telling you, the demographics of who is protesting not only look very much like the cities and towns that they live in, but they are overwhelmingly older white people.
It is.
Finally, people are starting to realize, oh shit, we've got to start doing this shit again. When I was yesterday, there was some ancient old hippie just singing 60s protest songs. And I'm like, that dude is like, I got to do this right now. I got to do this again.
Yeah.
Yes, we got to keep protesting.
Yep, we do. But again, this is only going to get stronger. They can't stop us. At this point, the momentum is too strong. Guys, they cannot stop us. They will try. They're going to get increasingly desperate. Okay? So shit's probably going to hit the fan in the meantime. But They cannot stop us at this point. The revolution has begun. And like, Kendrick Lamar said, the revolution will be televised, and we're going to televise it right here on our channel. You know what I mean? That's what we do. That's why we go to protests. That's why we live stream them. So those of you who can't, or maybe are afraid to go, can still participate, because you guys can hang out with us in the comments. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Please visit our link tree. It has all of our social media information, as well as our GoFundMe for the channel. We are desperately trying to raise money. We haven't gotten a donation, I think, in almost 2 weeks now. It's stressing me out a little bit. So we're trying to do something special. We're actually wanting to make an LLC this year and turn this into the VoR Media Group, not just the VoR Podcast. Okay, we're going to create an actual company out of this, and we're going to bring in other influencers and other people that want to make content that maybe don't have a platform, and we're going to do this full time. We could be pumping out content 7 days a week. We try to. I've been slacking lately because last week I was just too burnt out.
You've been doing a shitload, bud, but you've been busting your ass on it.
I know, but you know what I mean? But I feel like I could be doing more.
I know.
We just don't have the resources.
What we want to do is give more people who want to help a platform to help. And we need to get as many different voices from as many different demographics. And we all need to be talking to each other. And we need to make this the dinner table conversation. There is no place where talking about encroaching fascism is off limits anymore. It has to be talked about everywhere, all the time, with everyone.
It does. You're absolutely right. But we've built this community from the ground up. We love our community. How many cards did you hand out yesterday? About 20. I was giving about. I had people asking me for cards yesterday. I was like, this is weird.
That's awesome.
But no, I had a blast with you guys yesterday, man. Thanks for watching yesterday too. Sorry about the technical issues. I'm still trying to work out mobile streaming. I wanted to use Streamlabs so I could multi-stream, and I didn't think it was working, so I switched to YouTube, and then I found out later that it actually did work, and I could have used it the whole time. So I'm an asshole.
We're learning on our own. We'll get this.
Yeah, we literally don't know what we're doing. I mean, we do, but it's all been learned over the last 3-4 years. Both of us. Like, we weren't podcasters. We weren't protesters. Like, I think Mike was probably more of an activist than I was, but over the last 4 years,
activist. I've just always been obsessed with politics, so it's always been my interest.
You're culturally aware. Let's say that.
Sure, let's go with that.
Okay, sounds good. But yeah, this is all stuff that we've learned through the passion for what we do. Like, we learn this stuff and do this stuff, and because we feel like we have to, and we enjoy it. We love our community. We love you guys, and we're not going to leave you anytime soon. Even though we've thought about giving up several times throughout this process, because honestly, it's been an emotional roller coaster, and my mental health has been, I mean, luckily I'm already crazy, so it really doesn't affect me as much. So we're good there. But if you can, again, donate, please do. We really need your support. We are monetized on YouTube. We are monetized on TikTok, but we don't make any money off our videos because we don't get that many views yet. For whatever reason, we haven't broken through the algorithm yet. We will, though. I'm not worried about it. We will. So if you guys can donate and you guys want to be part of our origin story, the VoR group origin story, yeah, please.
Oh, we still have to discuss and figure out the whole moderator thing.
Yeah, we're going to have moderators. We're going to have clippers. Brina, I think, is definitely going to be one of our moderators. I got to add her. She's been asking. So absolutely. But we want you guys to participate in this too. Even if you're not good at, doing what we do, if you're not good at being on camera or just
help somehow,
you can help us in other ways.
And you know what? The more people we have, the more stuff we could do. If we could start organizing our own protest, or we could start getting people to if the more people we know, the more people we could have on camera. Let's think about it that way.
Absolutely. And we can't do it without your help. So if you want to participate and you want to help, send us a DM on one of our social media accounts, which is in our link tree. Our DMs are open. We're not scared.
We're always thinking about ways. We're not ignoring.
We're not scared. Right. Or you can email us at the VoR Podcast and Gaming at gmail.com. I almost forgot my own email address. It's been a long day. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much. If you can't donate, just like and subscribe to this video, interact with it, just share it on other platforms. Every time you click copy link, it sends whatever message to the algorithm, and it helps push it through. But thank you guys yesterday for joining me. I will be doing more on location stuff. Mike and I hopefully will be doing more on location stuff together because we know how to do a mobile broadcast now.
Yeah, we're good. Oh yeah, doing a show live is totally different. That's fun as hell.
Yeah, doing a mobile broadcast with your phone kind of sucks, but we know how to do it with laptops and mobile devices and multiple cameras. Like we can actually do that if we had the proper funding, I guess, to do it. Like I could be out in LA with James right now making content and being out there on the streets like Hassan Piker, getting, the real footage, not the corporate wash down bullshit. So thank you guys for watching. That's all we have for today.
Yep.
James and I will be on tomorrow at 9:00 for another episode of the Derp State. Love you too, Pamela. Thank you, Amanda. And then we have a very special couple guests coming on Tuesday to talk about the Election Truth Alliance and the lawsuits that are moving forward against the irregularities in the 2024 election, which are there. So we will have a lot of information for you the next couple of days. And I'm going to be back live streaming, doing news recaps Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay. So back to 7 days a week of streaming. Love you guys. We will talk to you soon. Mike over here shaking his head like, please stop working so hard.